Hi there, I'm here to talk to you about ICS Direct. It is a emergency response platform that has been developed. Emergency response runs on something called the Incident Command System, or ICS, which is a highly structured way of managing a crisis. Every response uses a defined set of forms, and each one is owned by a particular role and routed through reviews and approvals before it's finalized. You can see, there's primary author here, and so we can see that. This is a blank forms and plans library. Um, so putting the forms in is fairly standard, but what's the impressive and the real work is the added complexity of the approval process and workflows underneath. So for the user, they come in and they click draft new. They're able to, instead of just going into a blank form, they're able to fill it out from blank, or they can also choose to fill it out from a template. We can fill it out blank here, or we can go back and we can fill it out from a template. If we're going to say we're going to use the standard oil spill objectives. So when we do that, you'll see now that the form is auto-populated with those. The incident name, that area right there is locked because we don't want people changing that. That is something that is set by the incident commander. And the same here for the operational period. We don't really want people to go ahead and make changes there. In this situation, we have made the change. We said, no, we actually do need to make an edit here. So we unlocked this and put in an override of a different time. Now the system is going to go ahead and flag this as this is being at a weird time. We'll see that in just a moment. It auto-populates who it is that's preparing the document. We can see this is the planning section chief. Okay, great. Here's our timestamp. We're going to hit submit and distribute. When we do that, it's going to ask us to certify that we are in fact saying we made this document with the unified command and their approval. It's just an extra layer saying we certify that. Yes, we do. So now that form's been submitted. The next role that it's going to go to is documentation unit. So we're going to switch roles right now. We've been in this planning section chief. We're going to switch to documentation unit. You'll see that over here. Now we're in the documentation unit. We're in this thing called the doc review queue. This is where items go for their approval next from documentation to make sure they have received that QA/QC. So we're going to click on this one. You'll see, like I said, there's that OP date override that we flagged. We're going to click in here to review. We get to review the PDF. We can see all of the data in there. We can say if we want to change it, yes or no. We can return it for revision if we want with comments, or we can approve and publish. You'll see here it says this form is going from the planning section chief to the doc QA/QC, and then it will just be published. It doesn't require any additional approvals. So we'll click approve and publish. Now that draft watermark that has been on the form to prevent it from causing any confusion, that goes away and it receives this doc QA/QC stamp of approval. So now we know this is the official version. So that is to help with that kind of version control that can happen, especially in like command posts that operate on paper. Now that this has been published, we're going to go ahead and switch to the situation unit leader. So right now we're on this virtual sit stat wall. When a document gets published, not only does can you then have that digital copy, but it sends an archive of that digital copy to this virtual sit stat wall, which is where all oil responders typically come and get their data. So you go ahead and you can grab things from this. It also sends a version to the archive, the documentation archive, so you can see any previous versions that you have done. So this is a very elegant solution to a very complex system. As you can see, this was just one small form and one workflow in a many user many form situation. So